Hey guys, this is Chrono, and welcome to my guide on how to do the horrific vision of Stormwind with all 5 masks equipped. I'd like to preface by saying that even though this run was done on my Shadow Priest, most of what will be covered will be relevant to just about every other spec and class in the game. Let's start by going over some items and consumables we'll be using for the run. For your food buff, I highly recommend using Ghastly Goulashes, which causes you to heal for 2% of your max health every second. As tempting as it is to use main stat or secondary stat buffs to push your damage, keep in mind that everything does more than double their normal damage in a 5 mask run, and without this health regen, you'll find yourself wasting a lot of GCDs using defensive abilities and kiting mobs, rather than pushing your damage and doing big pulls safely, which would in turn lead to a net loss in damage efficiency had you used other food buffs. I'd also recommend bringing some kebabs, which will give us some much needed sanity that you wouldn't be able to make up for elsewhere, as well as some grilled gnashers that we'll be using to cheese the Umbric encounter. If you play a class that can naturally stealth, then this second food is optional. If you play a class that doesn't have Lust, Heroism, or Time Warp, then you should definitely bring some drums with you. A full clear will take roughly 20 to 25 minutes, so you'll be able to fit in 2, if not 3 uses of Lust. Also consider bringing at least 5 living action potions to cover for mistakes that could cause you to lose huge amounts of sanity, or just outright end your run. I'm a main spec healer, so I've been valuing corruption items that are pretty much useless to Shadow, so my options didn't make my run any easier, which is good news for you, because you don't need anything ridiculous to get the job done. But it also doesn't hurt. Damage procs such as Twilight Devastation, Infinite Stars, and Gushing Wounds would give you free bursts of damage that I simply didn't have access to. This is what I had spec'd into my Titan console research at the time of completing the run. The main 2 things I would say make a world of difference to a safe and successful clear are the Ankh on the left side of Tier 2, and Gift of the Titans at the very bottom. If you play a class that greatly benefits from haste, then Vision Hunter is significantly better than Experimental Destabilization, as its uptime is practically 100% so long as you're making an effort to chain pull. Because we're using the Mask of the Long Night, our sanity is capped at 500, so the Ankh gains a tremendous amount of value, as it reses you at 100% sanity, giving you an extra life. Here's the essence and talent loadout I used. I wouldn't say that these are objectively the best options for Shadow and horrific visions, but I will say that the Breath of the Dying Major greatly covers for Shadow's lack of single target burst on priority targets, and elite mobs that become a nuisance if they stay alive too long. A shorter cooldown on Silence allows you to interrupt every other polymorph cast on Umbric and Illyria rather than every third. I originally used Shadow Crash, but found out the haste bonuses from the console research made my passive dot damage and cast rate so obscene that I no longer needed the extra sanity from Shadow Crash to get back into void form quickly, so I opted for that slight boost to apparition damage. It's worth noting that this run was done during the week that cloaks were capped at rank 11, when our sanity reduction was 65%, so your experience with 5 mask runs may vary depending on when you watch this. Alright, that should be enough prep. Let's get started with the run.
Stormwind City, a bastion of the holy light.
Since you have a finite number of runs to do at any given time, no reason not to be Flashed, Augment Ruined, Food Buffed, and use War Scrolls to cover any missing buffs. You'll see 2 weak auras on the left side of my screen that are commonly used by people who run visions. The one in the middle left shows you exactly how much time is remaining before you run out of sanity, and the one above it allows you to reveal exactly what the effects of each of the potions are that you see throughout the clear. All you have to do is identify which potion is bad, and then click on it, and it'll tell you exactly what each potion does, to the right of it. I'm looking to pull at least 3 packs here, but I don't want to overdo it because I don't have any stacks of Void Form at the moment, or any stacks of Vision Hunter. I'll be the first to say that I'm no Shadow Priest expert, as I'm about to make a really noob mistake here in a moment. I didn't realize that Rift Strike sent out a line of swirlies that stunned you. I always thought it was a single one that I had to step out of, and I ended up getting stunned here, and it forces my first free action potion. I think I might have died if I didn't pop it, as it forced me to pop Void Eruption into Vampiric Embrace to heal me back to full. I definitely didn't need to master spell here, as the buff that the Riftwalkers put on themselves is very short duration, so if it lasts for even just 1 or 2 seconds, then it's already too late for me to dispel it. Might as well just leave it on them and continue DPSing. clearing these two mobs over here so that I can see which potion is next to the body in this corner. Whatever potion is next to him is the bad one, which is where I'll make use of the weak aura to reveal what the other ones do. I confirm that it's green, so I click green. I was a noob and was standing in the puddle, so I lost 9 sanity for that. No big deal though. You'll notice I panned my camera over to the right to see if that door was open. Had it been open, it would mean that killing the mob inside would give me a 7% burst buff. But because it's not up, that means that this buff is active. So by killing this rogue spirit here, and all the ads that spawns afterwards, I get 10% health. In hindsight though, because I don't have damage corruption such as Twilight Devastation or Echoing Void that benefit from having more health, I probably would have been better off just skipping it, as I didn't really feel like it would have boosted my survivability enough to warrant pulling these extra packs. It's not ideal that Gift of the Titans procs here, as I would much prefer it for the big pull I'm about to do in the first medium zone that we're going to. But at the very least it keeps my sanity from being drained while I finish off this trash. If you're missing more than 80 sanity at this point, this is a really good time to eat your first kebab. You lose about 20 to sanity consuming it, but you get a net gain of 80 if you do it in the cathedral area. And you should consider taking the portal from other zones back to the cathedral if you plan on eating additional food later on when it's off cooldown. I don't think there's a perfect route that everybody has to adhere to, but what informs me of what first zones I start out with is the fact that there's a major buff that exists in each of the medium zones, but only one can be active per run. So generally I go to the Dwarven District first, because that's what I've always been doing. If it's not there, if the buff is not present, then the second zone I do is the other medium zone, because I know for sure that it's there. The buff in this zone is located in the house directly to the left of this pack, and as you just saw, I quickly panned my camera to the left and saw that it was closed, so that means the other medium zone has the buff. However, if you didn't previously know about the existence of the buff in the Dwarven District, here's video footage of me successfully getting it in a previous attempt. Stepping over any of these mines will teleport you back to the door, which can be a huge problem because you're leaving puddles behind you. And it can be very frustrating on weeks where the madness is the one that forces you to jump forward and right into a bomb. At this point I'm looking to use my first lust for the run, and this elite is the only true threat in this entire zone. So by popping lust, I'm looking to pull as many mobs as possible within range without needing to travel too far and lose DPS efficiency. Because Gift of the Titans procced here, I probably could have been a bit more aggressive and pulled an extra pack, particularly the one in the back that has the 2 ranged mobs and the faceless one. If I waited any longer to jump here, I probably would have triggered the madness that would have forced me to run. The rest of this zone is just easy work, cleaning up whatever is remaining and clicking these bombs, which is a bit annoying because it takes literally no time at all if you do it in a group. These Dark Delusions normally aren't that big of an issue, but there's one in particular later on in the run that really does a number on me. Another unfortunate timing for Gift of the Titans proc. Would have much rather had that for the elite. Because I know this Dark Delusion procced on me, I feel confident that I can sit down and eat sanity food while the RP is going on for the next elite to spawn.
So, you like to play with explosives, do you? Then let's play! You made a grave mistake.
This guy's pretty much a pushover. I see him as just free 200 sanity from Elite Extermination. Pretty much dodge bombs, dodge breath, move on. Now I take the portal back to the cathedral to slow down the rate at which I lose sanity. And we're heading toward the other medium zone to claim the 10% crit buff. If the buff was present in the Dwarven District, it would have been 10% flat damage. I fear this guy's repel, as it causes him to take practically no damage. Now we're just making our way to the guild bank, because that's where the other buff is this run, as we confirmed that it's not present in the Dwarven District, so the bank should be open. I probably should have pulled the mob inside with this pack right here, as none of it's really that big of a threat. As long as I dodge the circles on the ground that the faceless one does, it's not really life-threatening. Yeah, this thing has like no HP. You can easily pull it with that previous pack. I'm not even sure he does any mechanics that drain sanity or are that big of a threat. I don't want to pull more than these 2 packs right here because these neutral yellow mobs put a debuff on you that prevents all healing and absorbs, so things can get pretty ugly pretty fast. And of course, I get stunned here, and I use my second free action potion. I want to apply as many dots as I can while I still have a couple seconds left of this Gift of the Titans, while still dodging this Dark Delusions. The next Dark Delusions is the one that really fucks me. So right here, I didn't even see it spawn right next to me. And I'm looking to interrupt this first cast, and I'm just mashing the shit out of silence when I should have just let him finish that entire cast, because he's already gotten 2 or 3 ticks of sanity loss on me. And because I wasted my interrupt on that last tick, he's going to get the entirety of this next cast on me. I'm pretty sure I dipped down to less than 10 sanity. Yeah, so I barely kill him in time before it triggers my ult. Which is really, really nice, because I'm going to need this Ankh very shortly. Using Breath of the Dying on the opener here hits him for almost 140k. If I had been more efficient with killing mobs with Breath of the Dying, I probably could have done double that damage. Right before I get silenced here, I release my Shadow Fiend so that I have 3 sources of damage to at him while I'm unable to attack. And when I am able to attack again, I get both my Mind Blast off and a Void Bolt, and he's just practically dead from the dots and the Shadow Fiend beating on him. Of course, Gift of the Titans procs again when there's nothing to kill, but at the very least it's freezing my sanity bar from being drained while I click some of these cages. I definitely wasn't paying enough attention to the little potions that spawn randomly throughout the run, so I gained absolutely no sanity from looking for those. It would definitely be to your benefit even to just find one of those, because that's pretty much a very fast kebab that you're eating when you pick one of those up, which can make or break a run. Just like the other medium zones, just tedious, busy work to clear all the rest of the mobs and click these cages. Things that are just not even a thing if you're in a group. There's no need to take the portal here, so I take the opportunity to just step outside of this red line to eat another kebab for some free sanity. I'll be honest, I had no idea these rats spawned. They aren't that big of a deal because they don't have much health, but it is a little annoying that it ends up triggering a Gift of the Titans proc here in a second. And there it is. And I would have much rather had that for the first elite in Matthias's zone, the Torrenson mob. I only choose to do this zone first because the elite is one of the first things you encounter, and that's 200 sanity you get very early on, so I can delay the timing in which I use my first sanity orb. But as you're about to see, tragedy is going to strike and my things don't exactly go according to plan. I definitely don't want these hunters alive against Torrenson because the poison they apply really slows down the rate at which I kill this elite. And you don't want to fuck around with this bitch because she can easily take all your sanity within a few seconds. One tick of that Blade Flourish takes about 50 sanity. The timing of this split personality couldn't have been any more unfortunate. It gives me no space to dodge Boring Blast, hitting me for roughly 200 sanity loss, just instantly forcing my Ankh. It's not that big a deal that I got hit right there and lost some sanity because killing her will refund 200 of it and top me off. Now right here I swear Valera is just inting to try to just throw this key, and I should have just left her because I wasn't on combat, and by turning around I realized too late that there was a gate there separating us, so there's no point even trying to help her with whatever she was trying to kill. I should have just moved on. Make sure you make quick work of both of these informants, as getting stunned by either of them will CC you for 5 seconds. I have Gift of the Titans right here, so I have zero fear of being hit by anything. Normally these mobs would do a pretty considerable amount of damage to me before I'm able to fight back, but with the food buff I just out heal everything. They're all just minor nuisances. The only real way I can get cucked is if I don't kill the informant or interrupt his Touch of the Abyss. I don't mind opening this chest right here. It's not out of the way and I can open it very quickly, so why not? Free mementos. And the boxes in the lost areas are worth a considerable amount compared to the medium zones in the cathedral, so they're quite worth picking up. I probably would have been conservative because I don't have an Ankh and dropped an orb prior to pulling his elite, but I get this really nice Gift of the Titans proc, which allows me to man up on him and not worry about any of his mechanics, knowing that I'm not going to lose any sanity and gain 200 for killing him, so it's a big net gain. This in turn allows me to instead pop an orb against Matthias.
Got the key. This thing is what drove Shaw.
Normally in a group you have to coordinate with other players to click these buttons at the same time, but in solo just make sure Valera is standing next to the other button, click yours and it'll open instantly. Now here a Figment spawns and for whatever reason it starts being tanked by Valera, and normally it would be really tilting for this to happen, but since I plan on popping a orb against Matthias, it's kind of amusing if anything. Nothing too special here, just deal with him as normal, don't get farmed by the eyes. If things get too claustrophobic, then just move like 10 yards to one direction. Just back to killing the boss. a really bad split personalities coming here, but I make a really nice last second decision to turn on and give myself some space. This is a really good position to be in, being at already full sanity and having 2 orbs left to deal with 1 hard zone.
Watch your back.
Looking back on it, I don't think there was much I could have done to outplay that split personality that caused Terensen to force my onk. But probably the only way to really prevent that scenario from happening is to wait for split personality to occur before even pulling her, so you don't have to deal with that at all. I see Wobble Top's entourage approaching me, and I don't want anything to do with that, so I'll go in the bridge so I don't risk anything. Another unfortunate prop timing, pretty standard. I thought this was a good time to eat food before entering the zone, since you lose quite a bit of sanity in this hard zone, so I might as well top myself off. I'm not sure if there's like a super optimal path, choosing left or right here. As long as you know where everything is and you know how to get from one portal mob to the next, regardless of what order you kill them. And even though I entered the zone with full sanity, I don't think it really matters that I went and killed an elite early on, because I'm losing sanity fast enough such that I'm probably going to be missing 200 by the time I pull him. Leaden Foot might easily be my most disliked madness. Nothing feels worse than just standing around doing absolutely nothing as your sanity is just passively draining. If it wasn't for the Ghastly Goulashes healing me, I probably would be close to dead at the moment, because these blueberries, the debuff they put on me, causes me to take a surprisingly high amount of shadow damage. Not just from itself, but from the Portal Keepers as well. I get a really good proc here, so I'll make quick work of this elite. Probably kill him in less than 10 seconds. Now, this pull right here may seem really harmless, but if you don't burst at least one of them very quickly, the stacks you get from this blueberry can cause you to get 2 or 3 shot by the Mind Flays from the guys in the back. So make sure you interrupt the Void Buffets. And if you're going to interrupt it, then you need to kill the other 2 quickly because they cast a fear. This courtyard area is probably the scariest part of clearing the Mage Tower, so once you get that out of the way, the rest of it is just spring cleaning. Don't mind me, just casually going the wrong way. This overlap right here could have potentially been really disastrous, because when you're low in sanity with split personality, the only visual cue is the purple border coming in on you, and if you're not actively looking at it, then you can get caught off guard and get disoriented by the clones that surround you. But luckily I noticed that last second, and also a Gift of the Titans prop, in case I did get CC'd by it. One more Portal Keeper and I still got 2 orbs to use. It's a really good position to be in. It allows me to use one prior to Umbric as well as one before Illyria. Thanks, game. Totally wanted that. In an ideal scenario, I'd be able to use a grilled Nasher to invis myself past Umbric to get set up with the cheese, but because I'm so low on sanity, I have to use an orb first. But I can eat my invis food while my sanity is regenerating. I forgot to mention this at the start of the video, but you need the Archmage Vargoth's spare staff toy to execute this cheese properly. So what you do is you invis past him and go to either side and set the toy up here, and if Umbric is to port on top of the image, then he instantly breaks out of his immune phase. Now do as I say and not as I do, because Umbric always ports to whichever side he is furthest from, and I didn't bait him far enough. He ends up porting to the incorrect side, forcing me to use my dispersion. And I fucking int right here because I'm trying to DPS him, and I didn't break my dispersion yet, so he gets that whole Arcane Missiles cast on me, and I lose a lot of sanity. This is the polymorph cast that I can't interrupt because it's still on cooldown, but thankfully I get this godly proc that saves me. Otherwise, I'm quite certain that I would have thrown the run from all the sanity I'm about to lose from him chain casting Arcane Missiles on me.
Such a cold reception.
But at least the cheese is taking effect now that he's porting on top of Vargoth. Just comes straight back to me. At this point, things are like looking up. It looks like there's like absolutely no way I could fuck this up, right?
Do not listen to those
I'll just let you guys watch for yourself. I fucking int on this. I make so many mistakes on this shit that honestly I deserve to just let this run just die. It was pretty bad. Oh my god, look at me. Why am I so shit at this game? Thanks for the helpful prod. Totally didn't need it.
Vision exploration concluded. Initiating exit protocol.
A grim fate for Stormwind indeed. Take solace in the knowledge that should it ever come.
I'm not sure if I could have gotten anything more useless than this. Freaking verse mastery for priest. Like, actually useless for all 3 specs. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you liked what you saw, leave a comment, leave a like, and if you guys want, I can do the same for the Organ revision on the next lockout. See you guys next time.